Welcome to I'm Too Busy, an interview-based show hosted by a talented makeup artist, Christina Flach. Christina offers viewers a unique blend of personal stories, inspiring journeys, and practical beauty tips. Join the conversation as Christina features successful individuals from various industries who share their insights on health, wellness, makeup, and the keys to their success. So now, please welcome the host of I'm Too Busy, Christina Flach.
Welcome to I'm Too Busy TV, where we dive deep into the extraordinary lives of incredible individuals who are making their mark in the world. Today, I am thrilled to feature a true Renaissance woman. She's also my client, who has conquered many industries with her unparalleled passion and drive. Taeler Hendrix is a powerhouse of creativity and inspiration, a multifaceted professional who has seamlessly transitioned from professional wrestling to becoming a celebrated author, podcaster, and entrepreneur. With appearances TNA Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and WWE, Taeler has established herself as a dynamic force in entertainment and literature. She is also an incredible author who has a brand new book out. Welcome, Taeler.
Thank you so much. What a marvelous introduction.
Oh, well, it's all you, my girl. You're a three-time Amazon top 100 author. You're a founder of Hendrix House Publishing. You're a podcaster. You're a contributing writer for Frightful News and Frightful Magazine. We're a professional wrestler with a global fan base. You are quite the woman.
I try. I am so excited that we actually got to do this today. I had an allergic reaction while I was traveling, and my face just blew up like a balloon.
God.
I know, and it's still not fully down yet. So I was just so excited that we were still actually able to do this. I haven't been able to catch up with you in forever, and you're doing amazing things. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm so excited for everyone to get to hear all about the amazing things that you're doing. So why don't we just start with, how did you transition from the wrestling career to doing all these other incredible things? What turned that you decided you didn't want to do that any longer?
I don't think it was a decision that I made. I think that my industry made it for me. And I think that that is something that I think a lot more professionals need to actually talk about. I actually wrote an article about it for Fightful.com. It's kind of the living nightmare of every professional athlete, like in professional wrestling, football, boxing, MMA, and just pretty much all major sports, really. You don't always get to say when, okay, it stops here. You don't always get to say because, you're one injury away from a potential career ending. You don't always get the opportunity or the benefit of choosing. So for me, I think what really helped Christina was the fact that I am a multitasker. So I was already writing books and different things while I was wrestling. I didn't get that push inside of myself to really just bet on myself to win if nobody else was going to. And I think I delayed the goals for perfection, but that was never going to come. So then I just decided, forget about being perfect. I'm going to get myself out there and I'm going to improve and be better. And that's exactly how I was able to transcend and prove that there is life after your professional sport in whichever industry you're in. There is life after. And if you bet on yourself when no one else will, you can take that power back into your own hands and create and be prepared for that life after, if that makes sense.
It totally does. How long did you actually do the fighting for, the wrestling?
I started around the same time that I actually started writing this book. I'm not going to lie. I started when I was 17 years old. I was still in high school, didn't have my own car yet, hadn't go to prom yet, hadn't graduated yet. It was towards the end of my junior year in high school, and I went to my first independent wrestling show, and then just from there, I pretty much got into the business. So it's been more than over half of my life.
Wow, that's amazing. Why don't we talk a little bit about your book? I mean, you have a brand new book out. I was reading it. It's amazing. What inspired you to write this book? And who is Emmeline and Millicent? Who are they?
I feel as though Emmeline and Millicent are different versions of different people that I was and or could have been. I got the inspiration to write this book while I was in my creative writing class in high school. And so I actually want to give a copy of it to that teacher who was responsible for it. I don't even think he knows that I became a wrestler or an author or anything. So, and he was one of the few that was so supportive of my wrestling dream, Christina. All the other teachers, they would laugh or snicker or would be very condescending. But I always just knew that's what I'm going to do. And I always knew I wanted to write as well and be an actress and pretty much do all the things that I have done already in my life. And so I really want to give him that credit. I actually mentioned him in the acknowledgments, Mr. Sykes. It was a revision assignment in high school for creative writing. And that idea kind of blossomed from that assignment. And I kind of used it as, a cathartic sort of release when you're in all these stressful situations, going to different towns less than 24 hours apart, performing live TV, pay per view, independent shows, wrestling loops, gone for 5 to 6 days at a time, coming back, all the different things. And so I'd always be jotting down little things in my notebook until it blossomed into my novel and I finally released it. It's all these different things that are all pieces of me, different experiences from my life, but also my passion for gothic horror and psychological supernatural suspense.
Wow. And what's the process like? I mean, you have some children's books out as well that are award winning and fantastic. What inspired you to do those books?
I don't know if I,
The hopeful spider, and it's not easy being a sloth. How did
yes,
those come about?
those are the two most popular ones. I really love those. It's Not Easy Being a Sloth was actually, I took all kinds of experiences from my life and I turned them into life. Well, they were life lessons for me. And what I did was to make them relatable for parents and children. I made them into fantastical, nonsensical adventures that would be really great talking points for parents to have conversations, meaningful conversations with their kids, but also entertain kids and inspire kids because I was actually a preschool teacher while I was wrestling. And I actually studied for that in college. And so I saw, and I briefly just mentioned actually that I lived it firsthand. Small minds kill more dreams than the act of going out and pursuing those dreams and failing until you succeed. Like small minds kill more dreams out in the world than the
That's
act of
true.
failing in pursuit. It really is. And I think you as a parent, you would know. So for me, I thought if we're teaching kids these life lessons younger, I think we're going to set ourselves up for a future where we don't have to continuously blame society because we can be the society who's actively making it a better place. And so that's why I started with children's books.
Do you have it? Are you working on any right now?
Yes.
Of course
I'm
you are.
Yeah, they are all like different life lessons that I had to go through in my life and live. So It's Not Easy Being a Sloth, which is Sully the Sloth's story arc. He is actually me wanting to be a wrestler and people telling me I wasn't good enough or I would never succeed or it was stupid, it's not going to be done, who are you, so forth and so on. And so I poured that into It's Not Easy Being a Sloth. And of course I love sloths, so that was great. And then the hopeful spider, honestly, Sparks the spider is about going out into the world, realizing the world isn't what you thought it was, and coming to the realization that you have to stay true to who you are out in the world instead of letting the world dictate who you are, and then creating your own family and friends as long as you stay true to you along the way. And that's what the hopeful spider is about. So now I want to elevate that, and I am doing one about a wiener dog, a dachshund. So it's called The Wiener Dog and the Wolf Pack, and it is about a dachshund in the jungle who gets adopted. He's orphaned and he gets adopted into a pack of wolves, but he never really feels like he quite fits in. And, he tries so hard. He tries and he tries and he tries, and it just doesn't work until one day something happens and everything changes. And I think it's going to be a really cute story. So I'm excited for that.
When's that going to be coming out?
Very, very soon. I'm thinking after I am done with the press tour for this book.
Yes, I would think that you need a minute to get things back on track after that. How long's your press tour going to be?
Oh, it's still in the works. So I figured when you reached out to me, even though I looked like Veruca Salt from Willy Wonka, I was like, oh my
No,
gosh,
you
she would be
don't.
no, seriously, I really do. I can feel my face is still like, um, but I really wanted to do this, and I thought you would be the perfect person to kind of start it and
Oh,
launch. So it was really the perfect opportunity. Couldn't pass it up.
oh, I appreciate that so much. Who does the artwork for your children's books?
Oh my gosh. I have an amazing artist. They are a ghost artist, so I can't say who they are because they like to kind of just be on, not be in the limelight. But they are amazing. It's a husband and wife duo. And they are just so amazing. They do it as a hobby in their spare time. And I don't know, it's just something that it's how they met. And and it's something that grew in their passion after they met, and it drew them together. And after they got married, they decided to do ghost illustrations. And I don't know, meeting them was so amazing because it is not a talent that I possess. So I can really appreciate things that I don't know how to do when I see someone excel at it.
That must be so exciting to come up with a story and then see it come alive through the artwork, because the artwork is so important, especially with a children's book. It's, as important as the story, I would imagine. So do you kind of obviously you give them a copy of your, manuscript, but do you give them any ideas of how you're envisioning how things are looking, or what is the process like for you?
Yeah, I kind of give them a detailed expression of the character, the basis of the book, and kind of the whimsical aspect. And if you look at all four covers, you can see us trying out different things until you realize that we come back to two specific formats with It's Not Easy Being a Sloth and The Hopeful Spider. They have very, very similar what's the word, animation, I guess, or
Mhm.
graphics. I am so not savvy when it comes to that area of expertise, but they have very similar touches, and I think that is the one that I think really speaks to kids and just the eye. I don't know, it just perfectly encapsulates everything that I wanted for the books.
That's so great. And what about the cover of the novel? How did they
Well,
do that as well?
that was really, really fun. That was also the most complicated. Uh, when you're publishing, they don't really tell you in advance about all of the different formats and measurements and conversions of files and all of these different things. And again, I am not tech savvy, and I cannot draw or animate to save my life. My mom can. My mom is a really, really amazing artist. She can paint, she can draw, she can do so many things. Me, not as much.
You have a
um,
lot of other amazing talents, my darling.
Well, thank you. But yeah, that was really a really, really interesting thing. It was interesting to try to pick what should be the cover of the novel because I wanted something creepy without giving all kinds of details away. And so I ended up choosing the attached hospital for the cover of my book instead of the actual mansion that my main character moves into. And I thought that kind of gave it a real kind of creepy sort of gothic vibe that I was really going for in this novel.
We are chatting with Taeler Hendrix, and we are going to be right back. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to I'm Too Busy. I'm Christina Flach, and we are chatting with Taeler Hendrix today. So it's so funny that it's almost our 2-year anniversary since I've seen you.
Yes,
It was right by. So since I've seen you, my love, let's see, we've got books out. You've founded your own publishing house and you started a podcast. So where do you want to start?
You know what? You lead the way.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit, what came about with the publishing house?
I decided, any fan of mine that has been following me for any length of time knows that I am a firm believer in all you need is love, guts, and gumption. Self-love to realize that you and your dreams matter, the guts to go after those dreams, believing in yourself when no one else will, and the gumption to see it all through, without sacrificing your integrity and letting your success be your noise, basically. And so I decided that instead of waiting for someone to take an opportunity and take a chance on me, I would take a chance on myself. And so I opened my own publishing company, and now I help people with publishing. I do ghostwriting for people, I do reviews for people, and I kind of help people with business plans and networking. And I don't know, to me it's really, really cool because I'm giving back in ways that I didn't have, and I also do the same with wrestling. So I think it really, I don't know, it just speaks to me, I guess, and as corny as that sounds.
No, I love that. And I think that's such a great philosophy of life. So what kind of books are you publishing right now?
Oh, I have several in the works. I'm helping people with some children's books. I recently helped someone else with a horror book. And then I have somebody who wants to write a historical education book that revolves around, it's almost the way he was pitching it to me, it was kind of education, historical figures, and sci-fi kind of all rolled into one book. And then I do ghostwriting where I do the writing for the people, but they get to put their name on it. And then I also do business plans. So say someone says, hey, Taeler, this is my goal, and I want to pay you to come up with a plan and how I get there. And so I come up with a plan A through Z on how they can get there, and what they do with that is up to them. And it really keeps me busy.
Wow. I imagine. And what about with the wrestling? What type of thing how are you involved with the wrestling still?
So I actually did a first in my career about 1.5 years ago, which was so cool. You know, after being in it for about 20 years now, I got a new career first. Really, really humbling, really, really cool to me. I got to be a ring announcer, and I absolutely adored it. I had so much fun with the personality and getting to be right there for all of the action and being able to announce all of the crazy, insanely talented wrestlers and luchadors at Lucha Patron in California. It was really, really amazing. And after I got hurt, which is actually how you and I met,
Right.
they gave me this amazing opportunity to be an agent as well as a ring announcer. So I got to take all of my wrestling knowledge and help build others up backstage, which was really, really cool. I helped them put different key moments of their matches together, help them with character work, their overall presentation for television. For some of them, they weren't taught in their wrestling schools how to actually work on television. So I taught them, you know, about cameras and about their entrance and all these different things. I've helped some people with gear and their promos and all of these really, 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 really cool things. And again, it wasn't always something that I had until I went to Ohio Valley Wrestling, where they taught me that in Kentucky. And it was such a pivotal time in my career. And I really wanted to do that for other people. And so that's what I did when they gave me that opportunity. So I kind of done that in a lot of different areas, whether it's writing about these people for Fightful.com, talking about them on my podcast, helping them backstage with Lucha Patron, or in general, just helping people with my business.
What has changed in the wrestling industry since you retired and since you're going back and you're, working with these athletes? What's changed, if anything?
Well, I'm not retired. I don't think anyone truly retires until they are not on this plane of existence anymore. It's a going joke. I forgot who I said it to. I think it was a fellow female wrestler who has a podcast, Taylor Wilde. I was on her podcast, I think a year and a half ago or so, and I told her, "Come on, nobody really retires from wrestling," and she started laughing because they always come back. There's just this thing about wrestling where we always come back.
You're just coming back in a different way.
Yes, you kind of, if you have that ability to reinvent yourself, I think you are far more valuable in any business, but especially professional.
Definitely.
So for me, there's so much that's changed. There's a lot more women now. There's a lot more opportunity a lot sooner in your career, which I think has drastically hurt some people because you end up being stunted and you kind of, plateau in a sense, and they don't really know how to get over that because they've never had to overcome that hump in the business before. And I also think that they're spoiled for options, which is a great thing. But I think for the wrestling fan, there's only so much your fans can afford. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot of changes. And when I say they're spoiled for choice, I'm not saying, oh, they're spoiled. No, I'm just saying they have so many options. And I think not everyone is being taught that not all opportunities are good opportunities. And in wrestling, you have what they call a bump card. And if you are taking all these bumps and doing all these things on these shows that might not appreciate it or appreciate you or even worth your time, you are escalating that bump card too fast, so much faster than you deserve. And you might not feel it now, but you're going to feel it later on, and it might affect your potential. And I don't want to see that happening to as many people as I see it happening to now.
So what is like one of the major things that you guide your clients to do or not do?
Oh, one of the big things is stay humble. You see a lot of people biting the hand that feed them now in wrestling. And there, of course, like with any industry, I'm sure that you can attest to this as well. There are negative things in every industry. We see it every day, but there are good things too. And there is a lot of insanely talented men and women in the professional wrestling industry. And until you clean it up, a lot of those really amazing, deserving people aren't going to get the opportunities that not only they have earned, but also deserve, because those are being taken by people that might not, you know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's something that I really instruct them to avoid is do not bite the hand that feeds you, but also stay humble. Know your value, but be willing to work with people to help your value. So don't just go to any training school. Go to one that has a reputation for the success that you want. Don't just go to any show that's willing to book you. Go to shows that are going to help elevate you, even if it might not be the pay you want. If you end up working for them multiple times, you'll end up getting more than what you were originally asking for. So don't shoot yourself in the foot and don't bite the hand that feeds you, and always be grateful because the business owes you nothing. It will go on with or without you. It does not care. And if you stake all your worth in the business, you are going to survive it. And that is not something that I want to see happening anymore. Everybody gets into it for the most part because they love it. I have never heard in my about 20 years in wrestling, I have never heard of someone say, oh, well, I got into wrestling because I hated it. Like, how bizarre does that sound?
Yeah, Nobody. That just makes no sense. You're never going to succeed if that's your attitude. And I think what's so beautiful about you a million things, but one of the things I really admire is your graciousness and the gratitude that you have for everything in your life. And I think, it doesn't, and I think that's what I notice with a lot of my clients. No matter how famous or successful they are, they're always grateful. They're like the least difficult people. The people that I find in being a makeup artist that are difficult are the ones that think they're more famous than they are. And successful people like you that have had all these incredible successes and done amazing things are always the easiest to work with. They're professional, they're nice, and they're, really appreciative of someone taking the time to really make sure that they're happy and look the way they want to look. So I think, exactly what you're saying is super important. What about the podcast? How did that come about?
Oh, it was really awesome. So the one of the writers for the WWE back in the day was a man by the name of Vince Russo. And Vince Russo was one of the writers for WWE when it was actually beating the NFL in ratings. That is huge. It is so
Wow.
huge. It's a big deal. It was the number one show for cable programming. That is huge. I don't think enough people put respect on that part. And that's a big deal. That is crazy. I don't think the WWE gets enough credit for that. I don't think the writers like Vince Russo get enough credit for that. Anyway, he's contributed a lot to the business, and he's been a booker and and a writer and all these other things. And he started his own podcasting program called russosbrand.com. And he saw potential in me and decided to give me a role on his brand where I could host my own podcast, talk about whatever I want, bring on whomever I wanted, and kind of just roll with it and show people who the real Taeler Hendrix actually is, instead of who everyone tries to convince you that I am. And that opportunity to showcase my authenticity was one of the most freeing experiences of the latter part of my career, because it finally proved that someone was willing to take a chance on me, someone who was more famous than me, someone who had even more credentials than myself. And I really earned it and I respected it above everything else. So that's how that really came about. And it was so much fun to me to get to talk about things that I am passionate about, or draw light on things that I think deserve more of a spotlight. Like what I was saying before about no one gets into wrestling because they hate it. So why are so many leaving it because they're hating it? I've talked about things like that so many times because it's still a thing. It's still happening. And when you love an industry, you want to try to leave it better than how you found it. And my podcast is one of the ways in which I get to do that, talking about things that might seem unsavory or might feel like it'll get you canceled, but you're probably the only one who's willing to say it. And so that's what my podcast, that's how it came about and what it was for me.
And how often is your show on? Is it a once a week show or?
Yes, it airs once a week. I'm in the process of revamping it. So we've taken a hiatus so I can revamp it. I want to come back with a new setup and a new like list of guests and all kinds of stuff, and just really, really get to pour myself into it. I don't like to be half in with anything. If I'm going to do something, I want my all in it because it represents me as a brand. So right
Mhm.
now I am revamping everything.
That's so exciting. So, how has your identity evolved from being a professional wrestler to becoming a multifaceted creative professional? And do you feel like a different person in each of your jobs? And who are you most comfortable being? That's a big question.
It is. Honestly, Christina, honestly, I am the exact same person in every single facet of everything that I do. And I have my fans to thank for that. And people might be like, "What? Why? Like that's such a weird thing to say." But it's the truth. My fans have really stuck by me through thick and thin. They recognized who I am, my authenticity, and so I put that into everything that I do out of respect for them, because I myself started off as a fan. And so I have a really special relationship with my fans, and they dive into everything that I do just as much as I do. Some adults that are fans of mine have bought my children's books. They buy my t-shirts. They listen to my podcast for free. They go on my YouTube channel. You know, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I think they're always going to know that there's going to be a certain amount of professionalism and authenticity and creativity that is uniquely Taeler Hendrix. And I really owe that to them, as well as the little girl that I used to be that had all of these dreams, who decided to go after them while I am blessed enough to do so. So I hope that answers your question. It's me throughout everything, whether it's being on my podcast or modeling or being an actress for commercials or professional wrestling, whatever it is, it's always me. And I'm always staying true to my values as a person.
I think because you're so comfortable in your skin that you are able to be you in all these different facets of your life. And I think not everyone has that ability or that freedom to really just feel so good in your skin. And I think that's something, you know, it's very hard. I think I interview a lot of professional athletes, and I think it's, you know, transitioning from being a professional athlete to being a civilian at times is really challenging for a lot of athletes. But I think because the whole time you were an athlete, you still had this creative piece about you that you were always working on. And so you kind of were clear when you know, stopped that part of your career. It was, I think that was probably one of the reasons why it was easier for you.
Um,
Or am I
it
wrong? I don't know.
It was not easy, but I agree with exactly what you're saying, because people on my podcast have said the same things. You do, like I said at the beginning, have to prepare yourself for life after. You know, you have to. It is not going to prepare itself for you, and it's probably going to come sooner than you want it or faster than you realized. And this is something I am just so passionate about, because it happens in every major industry where the probability of fame is high and the ability to make money is even higher, but the window with which you have to do those things is so much smaller than the average career of a person. You know, you get to be a professional wrestler, or you get to be in the NFL, for example, or even in MMA and UFC, less time than someone does getting to be a doctor or a manager of a grocery store or working in construction, even. Like, there's so many different examples. The window is so small, and you are always one mistake away from a completely different life. And I got so lost as a person because I kept giving of myself to all kinds of situations and people that didn't deserve it, until one day I woke up and there was almost nothing left of myself. And I see this happening in wrestling and in Hollywood and so many different industries where people give because there's so many people around them that are takers, and they take. They don't care what expense it comes of yourself. And so one day you wake up and you realize there's just a small, tiny little piece left. And you have a choice to make, a real pivotal choice on what you're going to do. Are you going to save that piece and put yourself back together? Or are you just going to give it up until there's nothing left and you can't come back from it because there's nothing left? And I think
We
that
are
that
going to be I'm sorry. We are going to be right back with Taeler Hendrix and finish what we're discussing, because this is really interesting and I don't want to stop, but we have to take a commercial break. We'll be right back. I'm Christina Flach, and I'm too busy.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth, and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to I'm Too Busy. I'm Christina Flach, and we are chatting with Taeler Hendrix. Let's go back to what you were finishing, and I'm so sorry we had to interrupt. So when you were feeling, after you stopped the wrestling and you were going through that, trying to figure out what you were going to do next, can you just tell me a little bit more about the challenges that you faced and how you overcame them?
Yes. And to really quickly go back to one thing that you said prior to the break, about being comfortable in your own skin. I spent most of my career and most of my life not being comfortable in the skin I'm in, not appreciating who I am, not understanding who I am, and really believing in myself. I had very negative self-talk. I struggled, with things like imposter syndrome and always thinking that I wasn't good enough and everything had to be absolutely perfect. And all of these other things that do not really add up on the ladder to success. They are more of a hindrance. So it wasn't until later in my life that I finally was comfortable and confident in the skin I'm in, confident in who I am, confident in my moral compass, and confident enough to show the world who I am while still understanding the difference between privacy and secrecy. I keep the things that are most important to me private. I don't have secrets. And for me, that was a really big moment of growth as a person. So I kind of wanted to just go back to that really quick, because I think a lot of people could really use that. They should be so much more confident in themselves and learn to bet on themselves, because the world is betting against you. And there's so many people that are going to get in line to tell you you're too much of something or not enough of something else. So don't be one of those people in your own life when it's about you, if that makes sense. I think the world would be a better place if more people tried harder to become the adults that they needed as children, because we should be our own biggest fan on the inside. We had to let go of our childhood so we could grow up. And I think that we should do better in honoring that sacrifice that the little kids that we were made. It wasn't easy. And a lot of people spend the rest of their lives outrunning their childhood instead of it being something amazing that can help us embrace the world in such a more positive way. And I think that was the journey in the latter part of my career that made me the woman I am today, and to be able to have this conversation with you.
I think that I'm so glad you went back to that point, because I think it is so important. And I also think when you're doing your consulting with your clients that are, that are still wrestling, if you can give them that gift, share that knowledge, that experience with them, I mean, that's invaluable. And I think it's so important. So thank you for doing that. I think it's really, really great. What do you think changed in you that you started feeling comfortable in your skin? Like, when did you get to that point? Or when did you notice that you're like, I'm feeling different. I like who I am and what I'm doing.
It was when I fell in love with my husband. Yeah. I wanted to be the woman that I saw in his eyes when he looked at me. And, I felt abandoned by pretty much everyone I had met since I was 17 years old. When push came to shove and it was time for people to do the right thing, they chose what they thought was protecting themselves instead of standing up for me and protecting me. And in comes this stranger. And instead of being a knight in shining armor on a white horse, he was a warrior, covered in dirt and battle wounds and battle scars. And he fought his way through hell, basically to find me when I was lost in hell and struggling and failing to find my way out and losing those last bits of myself. And he helped me save myself. And
I love
that
that.
brought me, yes, I think so many people are afraid in this society to say that. And I don't think that that makes you a pick me girl or whatever. I think it just makes you honest. And I think it just shows respect and appreciation as well as honesty. Because let's be honest, Christina, I don't know how you feel or how you think, and I'm not going to presume. But I think
We have to take a quick commercial break. I'm so sorry. My dog is barking and it's so rude, and I'm so sorry. I need 30 seconds.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorich, a 3-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a 6-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2 thirds, and 2 fourths. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorich, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Welcome back to I'm Too Busy, and we are chatting with Taeler Hendrix. Okay, thank you for your patience. I'm trying to ignore my puppy, and he's just like woof, woof, and then woof.
I have 2 wiener dogs and a German Shepherd when I try to do my podcast, so no worries.
You want to make sure everyone's gone to the bathroom, everything's good. I thought he was good, but clearly it wasn't. So let's go back to this. You're feeling good in your skin. You meet the love of your life. You're totally happy. And a button switched, like you just started, you felt at home and at peace. Is that kind of what happened? You felt safe.
Yeah. When you find somebody, even if it has to be within yourself, depending on your situation, when you have that person that makes you feel safe enough where you can let your guard down enough to do the work on yourself to become a better version of you that has not existed yet, it is one of the most amazing gifts anyone can give you. And what I was trying to say before the break was, I think we all have to be a pick-me person, because at the end of the day, someone has to choose you and you have to choose them. So I don't see what the big deal is. And I think as adults, that can be one of the single most important decisions that you make, that can make or break your life and your goals and yourself. So you have to choose wisely. And for me, he has supported everything, all of the work I have done, everything about me, all the past versions of me that don't exist anymore, for me to learn how to love myself. And that was one of the greatest gifts. And that really helped me turn everything around about myself. For me to hold steadfast to my convictions, for me to bet on myself to win, even if nobody else will, and to go out and try and not be afraid to fail, because that is a necessary step in success. If you're afraid to fail, you're never going to succeed. So I think that was the big turning point, and that happened much later in my life than people realize. I was so broken down. I had so much work to put myself back together into the person that I deserved to be, and that the little girl in me was watching and waiting for me to be.
Who are other mentors or influences in your life that have shaped who you are creatively and emotionally?
Oh man, there's an amazing woman and former CFO named Sarah. She helps me out with Hendrix House Publishing. She is amazing. I learned so much from her. I have to also give a shout out to Rose McGowan. She was really, really amazing and came in clutch for me when I needed somebody who had more experience than me and more notoriety than me and more of a voice than I did at that time. And she really did that for me. Obviously Vince Russo for, betting on me with the podcast, and my family and my husband. So many people, really. I can't, they're all like in my mind, but those are the ones that immediately come to my mind, is my family, my husband, my grandma, my little granny.
Oh,
um, and Sarah and Rose and some other people as well. I've been instrumental in appreciating my work and me and creating the kind of life that I always wanted to live.
I love that. How do you maintain your passion and prevent creative burnout?
I think that's a really good question, Christina. Um, how do I avoid burnout? I don't know that I do. If I'm going to be
Hmm.
completely honest, I don't know if I do, and I feel as though I should own it. I think creative burnout, when you are an insanely creative person, is sometimes almost inevitable, especially if you are so engrossed in what you're doing and you forget to take a step back and cool off. You can just go, 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 go until you're like, whoa, how did I get here?
Right.
I
What do you do for self-care? Like, because I think self-care is so important. And we've talked about this before. It's not selfish, because the better care you take care of you, you can take care of everyone else. So what do you do to take care of Taylor?
I think it's an investment in your future when you focus on little bits of self-care. I really do, because I think so many people are addicted to their problems and addicted to talking about their problems instead of solving them. I think self-care is a way to kind of take stock of that and kind
Mm-hmm.
of reevaluate and take a breather. I really enjoy being with animals. Prior to my hand injury, I should say, I worked with animals in my spare time, helping rehabilitate and train dogs and helping rescue and foster, cats or pigeons or whatever the case may be. And I really enjoyed that. I also love a good book. I know that's kind of, people are probably like, what? But I really love healthy candles, a good book, and I love music.
Me too. Oh my gosh, you and I are from the same tribe. It's like if I have my candles, which I have lit, I have some nice tea, I always have music playing in the background. It's just is that something that you do when you're writing as well? Like, what does it look like when you go write? Do you do it every day?
I don't do it every day. I kind of just do it when it hits me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. And a lot of times it's in the middle of the night when, every normal person is probably asleep and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm thinking to myself, when is the last time I saw my birth certificate? Oh, this would be a great idea for a book. Oh, did I pay that bill? Like, just like, I think a lot of people with ADHD or, insomniacs or night owls will really relate to that. I think sending memes to your loved ones in the middle of the night is a love language. That's usually what it looks like for me. It'll probably be the middle of the night. I will have some really calm music on that I love, that I find inspiring, that gets me into a certain zone. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
quiet. I have my favorite drink and I'm kind of just jotting things down and writing, or just chilling out because I'm trying to prevent burnout.
Where's your happy place?
My tiny house on wheels. I know that's probably a plain Jane answer, but it's the truth. I love my little tiny house and my little animals and the life that I am building. When I was in Ring of Honor, I talked about tiny houses and living in a tiny house all the time. I was probably so annoying. I watched all the tiny house shows, the container home shows, and I was always like,
Oh my
tiny house. And then finally I was like, babe, we're going to live in a tiny house. And he was like, all right, let's do it.
So, what is it that you love about the tiny house that you didn't
That
appreciate when you had your big house?
I never had a big house. I moved a lot for wrestling. I don't think people realize that. I moved 15 times in about 5.25 to 5.5 years, give or take.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. And it was several different states, briefly in Canada. So I was always on the move and I was always in apartment after apartment. I didn't spend a lot of time in houses, a little bit here and there, but it was never mine. So what I love about my tiny house is that it's mine. Nobody is going to take that from us. It's ours, and it's just my little slice of heaven. It's mine. I love it. It's our safe
It's
space.
home. It's cozy. If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Oh my gosh. I I don't know.
That's a perfectly fun. That's a hard question. That's a hard question. What do you do when your day isn't flowing?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What do you do when your day isn't flowing?
Oh, I make myself laugh. I am not a stereotypically funny person, but I think I am hilarious and
I
I
will
will laugh.
disagree with you. You were very funny. So sorry. I'm not going to buy that one. You were very funny.
Well, I laugh at all my jokes all day long. I am always talking to my animals and dancing with them. They think I am very annoying. And I send my dad jokes 24/7. Um, so I try to make myself laugh. When things are not going my way, I try to laugh, dance it out, or cry it out, whichever one, and turn it
Whichever comes out first.
yeah, if you're stuck in negativity, that's all you're going to find and that's all you're going to get. And that's why you have to be careful with who you surround yourself with. Eventually you'll be just like them. So choose wisely. And so when I have stuff like that going on, I will do one of those things. If sometimes you just have to cry it out, but most of the time it's laugh it out or dance it out. And I like that so much better. It gets that energy out of your body, it gets it out of your environment, and you turn it into something positive. So instead of focusing on all the negative that's not going your way, you can be like, this is the greatest day of my life, and just jam out, dun, 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 dun,
It's
dun.
amazing. It's amazing how our minds are so powerful that we can tell ourselves that everything is great, and then it all of a sudden is. I
Yeah.
mean, our lives are whatever we want them to be. So I agree. Choose wisely and decide how you're going to live your life in a happy way. Are you working? I mean, you've been a professional athlete for so many years. Are you working out still? Or if so, like, what are your workouts like and what's your diet like right now compared to when you were training?
My diet really isn't all that much different. I know it doesn't look like it because of my face being like, but I work out anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week, even when I'm traveling. I have an actually pretty healthy diet because I really enjoy cooking. I love getting to put a homemade meal on the table for my husband and I to eat. Like I genuinely enjoy that. I enjoy setting the table and decorating my house and cooking a home cooked meal. Like I can make my own tortillas or my own biscuits and my own pot pies and pot roasts and whatever else, so I enjoy that. I enjoy cooking a
I
healthy
love
meal.
that part of you. I think that's a great thing. I love that too. It's relaxing to me to be cooking and making it. To me, it's like such a show, a gift of love to
Yeah.
whoever's home, to like be able to feed them. I love that. I remember that when the day we worked together and you were so cute, it was Thanksgiving and you had this like beautiful Thanksgiving bread for me and all these things. It was just so sweet. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, it
So,
was Easter. That's what it was.
oh,
Easter.
it was Easter. It was Easter. I don't know why I thought it was Thanksgiving. It was Easter. It was Easter bread.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. So what about your diet? What do you like? What are you eating that you like or Do you eat a lot of protein and veggies or?
I actually, for my health, I actually transition different parts of my diet. So I focus on a lot of like fruit and vegetable smoothies like during the day, and I
Mhm.
don't eat nearly as many meals as I used to, and I actually feel better that way. I used to
Mhm.
eat anywhere from 3 to 5 times a day, depending on my travel or workout schedule back in the day, because you're always go, go, go and trying to get protein and stuff like that. But I found with, overcoming lung disease and things like that, that eating twice a day was actually better for me. So I actually eat less, but I take in better things now than what I was before, if that makes sense. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah, so that would be the biggest difference, because I still work out 5 to 6 days a week and I eat a lot healthier now. Before it was more like processed protein stuff that has so many chemicals and things that you don't realize. And I had no idea about all the chemicals that were in like the water jugs that we would drink all the time on the road. Like I had no idea we were drinking chlorine and all these different things that are in the bottled water. So I've been down a
It's
lot of that.
amazing. It really is. We think that water comes out of our tap is clean, and it really has so much yuck in it that doesn't. So what kind of workouts are you doing?
I focus on two aspects. I do resistance training and I do different forms of weighted cardio, so that I can build up different ligaments and injuries that have been damaged in my wrestling career. Like my neck, for example, is shorter than what it was before, and it wasn't very long to begin with because I have 3 herniated discs in my neck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then I had my brain bashed against my skull from something that went wrong in a wrestling match. So I tried to build up the muscles in my neck to hold up my head. I also work on stuff to help build um my shoulders because they both dislocate from wrestling, as well as my legs and my knees. I can dislocate my hip and my knees. So I am always doing, my workouts are all catered to de-aging my body to make it younger on the inside after all the damage that I had done being a pro athlete for so long.
Right.
Especially because a lot of times you don't stop to heal properly because there's always somebody behind you willing to take your spot and take your place, and you always have that angst and anxiety. So now most of my workouts are geared towards that resistance training, building up the dexterity and the mobility, so that way when, if I'm lucky enough to make it to 80, 90, and 100 plus, I will have the freedom and the health to be able to enjoy that life with, hopefully my grandchildren and great grandchildren.
That's amazing. So, Taylor, our hour is almost up. What do you want to share that I have missed today?
Well, I really enjoyed talking with you, by the way. It's been too
Oh,
long.
thank you. It has been too long. We can't have that happen again.
Guys, for anyone that is watching right now, I met Christina when I had a severed nerve in this hand and I could not do makeup or anything. And I had a Lucha Patron show right before my birthday one year. And so my husband surprised me with a celebrity makeup artist. You guessed it, Christina. And she made it absolutely phenomenal. It was such a thoughtful and wonderful present. And she actually went above and beyond for me, guys. Like, she didn't just do my makeup, she helped me with my hair, my outfit, my jewelry, everything. She was amazing. I will never forget that, by the way.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, I hope we get to work together again soon. I would love to do like for your book or something, to do the photograph for the book. That would be so fun. I would love to do that.
I would love that. You have no idea how long this took me. It was horrible.
Oh my gosh. Well, in the show notes, we're going to have everything that where you can find Taylor and follow Taylor. And I thank you so much. I love you. I can't wait to see you again soon. And I thank you so much for being here today. You were such an amazing guest. And I want to thank Christian, my engineer, Maya, Avery, and who shall be nameless for making me laugh and smile every day. I'll see you next week. I'm Christina Flach.
This has been I'm Too Busy with host Christina Flach. Tune in each week as Christina approaches the concept of success holistically, recognizing that achievement is not solely measured by financial triumphs, but also by maintaining a healthy work-life balance and focusing on self-care. Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.